Yo, hey guys, what's up? What's up? What's up? Good evening, everyone from the guys on my side of the world. And how you doing, Saratovia? What's up? What's going on
Uh,
over there, man?
Very good, very good. Exciting times in the world of crypto, blood on the streets. Not financial advice. Hold on to your conkers.
Yeah, despite what's happening like tonight or the past few days, we are back, and this is our first AMA again with the whole community for 2022. And you know what? I always say like start the year with a big bang. And yeah, glad to be back. And once again, my name is John Tidano, Community Marketing Manager for Yield Games, and the main man right there, Mr. Saratobi, the head of partnerships. And yeah, why don't you go ahead and introduce our special guest for tonight, Alexa?
Today we have the Tristan Chaudhry, the managing director of Heroes of Mavia. I have to say we've had some super high levels of excitement on our socials about this AMA. So it looks like we have a lot of excitement in the chat as well. So for everyone watching, it would be great to get an intro.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Tristan, and I'm the managing director of Mavia. We're very excited to be here. YGG is someone we plan on working with very closely in the upcoming future, and we are very excited to talk about our project Mavia, which we think is going to be one of the top strategy games in 2022 for play to earn. And we even say play and earn because really we don't want to think of it as you're just playing to earn. You're playing a game that's fun that you would have otherwise loved to play, but you're also earning and you're also taking ownership in that. So Mavia, as many of you are well aware, is a Clash of Clans, Axie, Overwatch, Halo Wars hybrid. We took concepts from many different games, and basically the best things we liked about them, we left out the things we didn't, and we made a brand new model, a brand new play to earn model, a brand new token model that really no one's tried in the space before, and we think it's gonna be really good.
Pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. I mean, you've obviously kind of started to answer the next kind of question, which was the elevator pitch for the project. Great to hear the kind of narrative behind Mavia is obviously shifting away from kind of play to earn to the kind of play and earn narrative. I think that's an important maturing step that the industry needs to take to really kind of get people in the mindset of, you know, participating in these games and participating in them building the metaverse without just having like just earning in mind. Now obviously it's fantastic that like there is that potential to earn, but I think having that mindset that like earning is the only thing there is a dangerous narrative. And I think that it's great that we're seeing more and more games kind of embrace the narrative of like, this is going to be a really fun game. We're going to attract players that want to spend money regardless of, you know, the kind of earning potential. And obviously I think that's what's really going to truly make the most sustainable play to earn games in the space. So definitely excited to
Although
see that.
otherwise
Can
it's
you?
like tough, right? We don't want that. We don't want them to feel like they're working. We don't want them to feel like they have to do something. It should be a completely it should be hand in hand. You know, like
Yep.
nobody wants to go play a game and feel like they're not enjoying the game experience. They don't want to feel like they're working. They don't want to feel like they're forced to do something they don't have to do. They want to enjoy it just like they would any other game.
No, absolutely. I mean, just a quick one, obviously, for those in the audience. When can we expect to play this highly anticipated game?
So the Q3 of this year in 2022 is when the beta is going to be coming out, and we're going to have a lot of footage before then. We're going to have a lot of sneak peeks, but somewhere around Q3 is when we expect the public beta to be released. And the public beta, our public beta, is really like what a lot of the games consider official launch because we're doing things the way traditional game space works. Beta is like a fully functional game. It's just we say beta because there's going to be some tweaks, there's going to be modifications and things that change, and then Q4 is the official global launch.
Fantastic, fantastic. And that's going to be as a like an official app on the Play Store, and are you hoping also for the iOS App Store, or what's your kind of thoughts there?
So yes, we're gonna be on web, iOS, and Android. It's all about mobile. This is a game that we see people being hooked on and playing for hours at a time. But also, it's something that players want to have the convenience of going on their phone and playing, just like they would their other favorite mobile games. So this is not going to be a game where we're expecting people to download to their desktop and you know set aside all their
Yeah.
priorities and just have time to focus. This is a mobile game, just like you know Clash of Clans, just like Brawl Stars, that kind of thing. So we want people to be able to, while they're on the train, while they're wherever they are on the couch, they should be able to play the game.
Interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's a really good thing that I mean, the mobile gaming market is definitely gonna explode in the next coming years. Like especially with what's happening, like the world's starting to open up again. Everyone's gonna be going back into their real lives, into their daily schedules, and everyone's gonna be busy. And it's a good thing that we do have these types of games that are gonna be coming out. But now this time around are gonna be play to earn or play and earn in this case. But yeah, Tristan, I'm pretty curious. So for the community, I mean, the concept's pretty sick, and combining all the games that that we love, that the community loves, is I think it's something new, like where we have usually like traditional crypto games where there's only one game that's coming out, like there's only one way to play it. But you mentioning that like you're going to be having like multiple game modes, like different game styles and everything. But what truly is what was the decision, like why did you think to come up with a concept of a game like this, like why?
Well, really, it was a multiple of reasons, but we were thinking like, what is the epitome of a play to earn and earn game? And there's a lot of factors that go into it. So if we're going to involve, there's just NFT games and then there's play and earn games. It's
Yeah.
tough to balance the two because there's been so few good examples that have lasted very long as far as sustainable economics. And that's part of the other thing. Like we want a game that the play to earn currency can last a long time. And to do that, you have to make a model that isn't dependent on new investors coming in to get the old investors out. And the only way to do that is to have assets in the game that can grow as a result of the play to earn currency. So in layman terms, we need to have land, some form of land. And honestly, this model can be applied to many different games, but it's perfect for this type of game. You gotta have land, and the play to earn currency is the only way you increase the value of that land and improve it. That way there's always something to strive for. But it was just like a perfect storm because frankly, the Clash of Clans model has so much we can do with play to earn. I mean, between the tournaments, between alliances, which is our version of Clan Wars, between the different NFT types, land, heroes, statues that we made, wagered matches is like a big one. We think that's going to be one of our biggest hits, where a player will maybe they want to have a little more action than just the day to day. They want to put down 1,000 ruby, winner takes all. That's another revenue model for the ecosystem. There's just so much we can do there, and it seemed like the most rich opportunity. So we took the concept, but we wanted to improve it. We think the Clash of Clans concept could be improved greatly. It's a perfect fit for play to earn, but we wanted to make our own style, which is we have an Overwatch type of theme. So we had to make it different. We don't want anyone saying, oh, maybe you guys copied them. We don't like copycats at all. We think that's a complete lack of ingenuity. So if we did this concept, it has to be rebuilt from the ground up. It has to be rebuilt with play to earn in mind, NFTs in mind, our own style, crypto. So we made characters crypto themed, which is why you see the gorilla with the diamond hands and the Doge with the rocket launcher. The whole concept was built with crypto in mind. And the model changed. What we put as NFTs is obviously completely unique. There was no NFTs in the game. So we basically took the concept, merged it with several other games that we really liked, and made a NFT play to earn concept that we really think there's never been anything like.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome, man. I think like how I see it from what answers that you gave is, it's your teams or if, your studios, your company's way of reinventing like the current wheel that we have for play to earn. And yeah, so now I'm pretty curious. So like, could you tell us more about like your team and the people behind the project? Like how many guys are on the team? Who do you usually work with, and how does it work?
Yeah, sure. So there's several co-founders. We started with the company is based in Vietnam. That's where most of our development side is as well, including the game side. And Avon, he's one of my other co-founders. He is based in Paris, France, and he's actually building out an art team, a world-class art team out in Paris and all of France. And so a lot of the art graphics you see are coming out of Western Europe, between France and Germany. But the team itself is pretty large. We have about, I think, 42 designers now, 42. And development side, we have somewhere close to that. So the team's around 80 people. And
Awesome.
it's really cool because it ranges between crypto and art and development and marketing and a whole array of backgrounds. But me personally, I'm focused on the blockchain and the tokenomics side. It's something I really like. But Avon, he's actually really getting into the Ruby modeling. So Ruby's our play-to-earn currency, and we want to model every single interaction in the game in a simulator to make sure that the token's balanced. What are the probabilities that a player will earn 3 stars on this battle? How much ruby will they earn? Okay, what's the likelihood they go spend that ruby on their base versus cashing it out? How do we mitigate the risk of hyperinflation? So if you put every single variable on the map and map it out with probability and likelihood and have every single variable accounted for, it's very easy to tweak the system, find out where your weak points are, and direct the ecosystem to make sure that the tokens are balanced, because there's really
Yeah.
no other path for it to become unbalanced. So that's something he's leading the effort in. We actually put that on our Twitter. And it's funny that the CEO of Machinations, which is the software that he used, reached out and they want to work with us to make sure that the model is as basically as pristine as possible. And they may even give a stamp of approval saying, yes, this is correct, essentially.
It's
Awesome.
always finding that balance between like
Yeah.
sinks and faucets and economic levers that can be pulled based on certain things in terms of like, player inflation versus token inflation. And as long as there are kind of levers available and opportunities to create multiple
We
burn
have so
mechanics.
all the levers. I'll give you an example. Originally, when we started the game, and we always knew we'd be tweaking it, but we just got to find that balance. Ruby was minted every time you win a battle. So if you won 1 stars, as an example, let's say you won 1 ruby. If you got 2 stars, you won 2 ruby. 3 stars, you won 3 ruby. But we realized, we said, wait a minute, if someone just got completely wrecked, shouldn't they lose something? Why
Yeah.
should we just be minting all this ruby? And similar to how there's gold storage and oil storage, we should have a ruby storage where all your earnings that you earn in ruby go into that, and at basically every 3 days you'll be able to collect from that storage. So imagine this crate. It's holding all your ruby that you just earned over the past few days. You can get raided and you can get some of that stolen. And whatever's stolen is going to the other player. He just earned ruby, but it's not minted. It's not harming the ecosystem. It's not creating inflation. It's just being taken from that player. What that change allowed us to basically release any limits we had on caps you can earn per day. You can officially earn unlimited ruby per day. There's no limit to how much you can earn in the game, but a lot of it's going to be taken from other players. So it's really not harming the ecosystem. It's not causing inflation. It's just moving it around. Then we went a step further. We said, wait a minute, if we are taking a lot of ruby from players at 3 stars, let's burn a little bit of it. Let's have them work for the ecosystem. If you just got 3 starred, and let's say you got 4 ruby taken, 1 or 2 of those should be burned. So now what used to be inflation is getting moved around, and now it's causing deflation. So all these little like mechanics, you'd be surprised when you see the end result over like a year of what it changes in the ruby, like it 10x difference, that little change. So that's why simulating is so important.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's pretty sick. Like from what I understand, like everything's gonna be balanced, like even before anything gets minted. I mean, there's gonna be an influx. There should be mint. I mean, the people are gonna win some. People are gonna lose some. Ruby, but like before it even goes on chain, like you're gonna be able to monitor like what's gonna be happening next. Like you can even like predict, like maybe like it's time to adjust. Like maybe the price of Ruby is gonna be going down or prices going up. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting how to see that. Like the thought process behind that. And it's good. I mean, for me, it's also like really, really good that not only are you focusing like on one play style of the game, but also you're also looking at all the other games that have done like their tokenomics and what actually like basically you're just new. As I said, you're trying to reinvent the wheel and you're trying to present it to something that's very palatable and very like something relatable to the whole community, something that's already there, and just offering something like even a bit more. But yeah, I actually have like one last question before I move on back to Saratobi. I think you've answered it previously in my like you've talked about it earlier. But for those who just hopped in, um, if you were to narrow it down, like what are the top three features of Heroes of sorry, wait, is it Mavia or Mavia? How do you say it?
Mavia, yeah, Mavia.
Heroes of Mavia. So what are the top three features of Heroes of Mavia that that you believe separates this game of yours from all the other games that are coming out already released?
So gameplay features, definitely alliances, the ability for guilds or esports teams or players to form clans and fight as a unit. That's going to be huge. Wagered matches, massive. There's a lot of features we can add to that where it has to be balanced. It has to be fair. So you can't just search for a match. Someone comes in, our algorithm made a mistake, and you lose Ruby as a result because maybe it was an unfair match. You have to both accept the wagered match. So you're going to look at their base, they're going to look at yours, and if you both agree, only then will you start the wagered match. But there's never been I won't say never, but there's not really a lot of games that I know of where you can very, very easily deposit a crypto and
Okay.
winner takes all of the game, and it's part of the UI of the game itself. And then the third one I would definitely say is the customizations. Like, we're staying true to the NFT nature of the space we're in. The heroes will have so many customizations and paths and different changes you can make to their appearance. Like, imagine, as a reference, I don't want to keep referencing Clash of Clans because we really changed so much, but it's the easiest way for me to explain it. So imagine you have a barbarian king, but you can change his weapon. He has superpowers. He has like sidekicks. He can change his outfit. You can change different features about him, and that's your NFT. And there's all these skins you can add to it, and it's like you have a base, but equally as important, you have these 4 heroes that are like represent your army. So I'd say those are the 3 things that really make us so unique.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, especially like for us, like even Saratobi, like he's out on a business trip, like even like on today, like while we're on the game, and like I think it's something that like we could fiddle in, like jump in and out of the game, and like check out. I mean, even play with our guildmates here in YGG. Like, what do you think about it, Saratobi?
Yeah, it's definitely a game that I'm looking forward to. I've played a lot of kind of Clash of Clans-esque style games. I know that like they're super popular, so it's really going to be exciting to see just how Heroes of Mavia plays out. I mean, which kind of leads me to an interesting question. I mean, as there have been so many games that have tried to build something along those kind of lines, what do you think is really going to set you guys apart from many of the other games that kind of are aiming at that type of mechanic?
If your token model works and you can continually deliver on what you're claiming, I think you will succeed no matter what. I think no matter
But
what.
more on the gameplay side, let's say. Let's forget about the token. Because we're talking about a game that's more focused on the. Obviously, I know that like the token side is important, right? But like just like you said, this is about a game that's like fun to play for the sake of the game. So on the game side, what do you think separates it from
Definitely the branding.
similar games?
The branding. I mean, you take a look at why did Supercell win as opposed to like all of the other clones? It's because their branding. People felt attached to the characters. They had trailers. They had content always coming out. It was very high quality graphics. There was a feeling of like camaraderie when you were attached to these characters. You felt attached. You like the brand. If there's a game that has cool features and stuff, but you can't like fall in love with the characters, you can't fall in love with the universe. You're not really attached.
But that's Clash of Clans, though, right? That you're talking about.
Yes, well, as an example, but I mean, in any game, you fall in love with like the.
No, but I'm talking about like specifically for Mavia, right? How's it going to kind of differentiate just on the game side from Clash of Clans-esque style games?
Okay, so how do we differentiate ourselves from Clash of Clans types games? Well, I would say different features is the following. We have air, vehicle, and infantry troops divided. That's just a single difference. So now we've added a strategy where vehicle has an added bonus against infantry, infantry has an added bonus against air, and air has an added bonus against vehicle. That triangle, that rock, paper, scissors formation adds a whole other dynamic to the gameplay. In addition, we've added defensive troops. So on your base, you're able to, it's not the size of the offensive army, but you can add some troops to a defensive barrack. And when someone attacks you, you don't know what's in there, but troops come out. And whether they're air, vehicle, or infantry is kind of up to, it's up to what the player decided beforehand, but that will make the difference between who wins and who loses in many cases because of that added bonus I just discussed. Then all of the customization features that weren't there before, we're going to add a lot of ways you can customize your base. I think one of the things people really like too is the land. So the land NFT, it's not, every player doesn't get the same land. Each plot of land is 100% unique, and they have a unique location on this map. So imagine Google Maps, and there's this island, and it's called Mavia. Each plot of land has unique coordinates on this island, and they look different. They're all generated uniquely. It's just like an NFT. There's no two that are the same in appearance. And the fact that there's different bases built on each one only increases that difference. So I think a lot of the personalization features are cool because it makes the player feel even more attached to their assets because it's completely unique, 100%. Even day one, it's unique, let alone all the things they add to it. Two is the gameplay. We've added many new gameplay features. As an example, instead of spells, heroes have superpowers. So if we have a military sergeant hero, he will have ability to have two different superpowers, and one may be calling a chopper, and a chopper comes in and starts attacking. So the heroes, a lot of emphasis is played on the heroes as opposed to just spreading it out between different types of barracks and troops and things like this. We've placed a lot of emphasis on heroes rather than just the regular army. And there's lots of little things like you're going to be able to customize the way your army looks. So if there's like skin packs, now you can shoot rainbows instead of just regular bullets. That's an upgrade. So whenever you're getting attacked, you're almost interested to see the battle because you want to see the different NFTs that were placed on the armies and see like the different way it affects the way it looks. It won't affect the gameplay as much as far as damage and defense, but cosmetically, it's fun to watch. So we're gonna add a lot of cosmetics too that really make the army, the map, and the base feel really personalized.
Awesome.
There's an interesting question come from the community there just regarding the heroes kind of piece. Will the kind of superpowers autocast, or will they be controlled by the player?
Will they also what?
So will the player kind of actively control the use of the superpowers, or are they kind of auto battler style?
No, not auto battler. We want to allow it to be in the player's control. So just like there's rage mode for the old heroes, here we're going to go a step further. You don't just push a button and it activates it. You can push the button and just swipe a line where you want the attack to come in. That's the hero's superpower. So the heroes are like, we're placing a lot more of the battlefield advantage in the heroes' hands rather than just the regular troops that auto battle. We want to put more emphasis into the player's hands because auto battling, is a key component of this. But if we can give the player a little more control of how their army moves and operates, it makes it even more fun. And it adds a little more strategy to it too, because now if you had called in that airstrike on one section of the base versus the other, that would have changed the whole dynamic. It would have changed the whole outcome. So we want to add a lot more features that put that emphasis into the player's hands.
Fantastic. And I know one of the issues that I've run into from playing similar games like this in the past is that, like, as a newbie, you get stomped on sometimes a little bit. How are you guys going to try and mitigate that? Are you going to, like, structure it so that, like, certain levels of players get moved to certain areas, or how are you going to kind of deal with that kind of part?
Yeah, that's all a balancing issue. We're gonna have tutorials and walkthroughs and demos they can play on, so they can really test out their hero. A lot of people want to test out the hero, so they'll have a demo place to play with it. And as an example, when you download a new skin or purchase a new skin, before you purchase it, you may want to see how it looks like in the game. So we're considering adding a feature where you can test out that hero in gameplay through a test mode. But on a skill level, we're going to have test and basically practice arenas where you can view different setup bases that we made pre-configured, and you can deploy your units on there and see what works, see what doesn't. On the multiplayer side, when you're searching for a match, we have to match you based on your rank, how good you are. It's not necessarily just how good your army is, it's how good you are too. It's a combination of factors. So we have an algorithm that combines your player's skill and your player's base versus your skill and your base, and it matches it. Obviously, that'll be optimized over time, but we think we'll be able to get it so it's a good fit for each player.
Awesome.
Interesting. I mean, I'm just gonna be jumping in like real quick. I have a question. So like, let's say for example, I want to play the game. Like, what are the steps? Like, what is my entry into Heroes of Mavia? How do they make that happen?
So there's 3 ways to keep the core of our token model is limited land. So you can't just create an account and start playing. You have to control or own land. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to have access to a lot of liquidity to play either. You can purchase land, which is obvious. Purchasing land is the most straightforward way to get into the game. Then you can rent land, which is basically taking an existing owner's base and renting it from them for a fixed amount of Mavia token at a rate you guys agree on. So they'll list it on the marketplace. It's kind of like Airbnb. They'll list it on the marketplace. They'll say, maybe like 5 Mavia a day or 1 Mavia a day, whatever whatever they want, and that is the rate to play with this base. Or they can do a weekly or a monthly arrangement. And now the player, just to get their feet wet before they buy a base and jump all in, can test it out and play the game. Or if they just want to hop from base to base, they can rent. And then partnership requires absolutely zero upfront capital or liquidity. You just partner. It's similar to a scholarship. So the partnership program is free for the player, and they just find a landowner who wants to partner with them, and they can begin playing. But regardless, you have to control land in some form, whether it's through owning, renting, or partnering.
Interesting. That's pretty interesting. I mean, like Saratobi, like I've had my jab at like other similar games, but I mean, it's only gonna be like this time around that we have all these all these integrations into NFT, into the NFT space. But like for example, like what's gonna be what dates are we? Sorry, what upcoming events are we gonna be looking out for if we want to get a snag at some of these NFTs?
So the whitelist process is being undergone right now, and we have a very unique. Everything we're doing, we're trying to do quality. We're trying to flip basically the status quo on how it's done. So our whitelisting process, it doesn't seem too crazy, but it actually ended up being very different than what a lot of people do for whitelist. We did no quizzes, nothing. We want the community. We basically are trying to get land because it's so valuable into the most loyal community members' hands, and not just loyal, the people most excited to play the game, the people who are most likely to use the land to play the game as opposed to just flip it or rent it out or whatever. So we want to attract those players. So our whitelisting process right now is taking a community content driven approach first. But there's 4 pools. You can create content, which is like Twitter threads, Medium articles, art, which has been absolutely insane. If you go to our Discord art channel, you'll see like thousands and thousands of art creations just on Mavia, graffiti, cakes, everything. Then there is KOL round, and then there's the community engagement. That at the moment, the whitelist is the only way we're giving out land. In the future, we're going to have some staking rewards and staking programs where we also give things like this. There's a lot of different avenues we can take to getting lands into the players' hands. So we're not revealing all of it right now, but we're looking to get a decent chunk of land out there initially so that we can get a player base going and slowly and gradually release the rest to make sure there's no sudden jumps in the market.
Interesting. So I actually have a really good question, like here from the community. I think his name is Aratarata, and I think he's attended like one of your first AMAs, and the question is he's asking. So you mentioned that new biomes will be added every 3 months. And accordingly, new lands. So, and he knows that they will be sold for Mavia, the Mavia token, and he's interested. So, you mentioned a whitelist campaign, or is there also going to be a public sale that's going to be happening?
Yes, there will be a public sale. We're looking at doing that through Binance NFT at the moment. That'll be 1,000, which we announced during our whitelist process. There's going to be 1,000 plots that made available. But in the future, yes, we want to release land to the public, and we will take in Mavia token as the only accepted currency, and that'll just go to the treasury. That doesn't go to the team. The team is not looking to fundraise past this. So yeah, the biomes is cool. I mean, we're doing tropical right now. All the land's tropical, and in the future, we're gonna release like the Arctic region, desert, the woods, the volcano, tons of different regions with maybe even new characters and new heroes released. Those will kind of be like our version of seasons. And with each season comes a new biome made available. And that's how we grow the island in a controlled fashion.
All right, that's awesome. So I think you've mentioned, that it's going to be done on the Binance NFT marketplace, right? I think Saratobi, you have like a blockchain related question over there.
Well, yeah, just before the tech-orientated
Okay.
question relating to the biomes, obviously, as you kind of release these different biomes, you're obviously going to have like these kind of different aesthetics in each biome, right? If you're based in one particular biome, like let's say I have a piece of land in this particular piece of biome, particular biome, what kind of opportunity will I get to kind of experience the other biomes and kind of have this kind of variable experience if I'm based in one specific one? Do you know what I mean?
So when you attack an opponent, you're going to be able to go on their turf and see how their troops and their buildings look. We don't want to make too many different variations of the troops, mainly because the development time increased in that. But we're able to, because we're building everything procedurally, we're able to add small effects to the buildings. So in the Arctic region, there's going to be snow on top of some of the buildings, or maybe alongside the buildings. Now, if we didn't build this procedurally, and that's led by Avon, if we didn't build that procedurally, imagine each region we have to go back and each single level of a wall, each single level of a barracks, and each single level of everything, we have to add snow manually to it. It'd be a nightmare. We couldn't do it. But because it's done procedurally, we're able to have a program that just drops snow on it and look at how it renders, and now export those assets. And now when an army that's based in the desert goes and fights in the snow, there's not going to be an attack or defensive difference, but it'll look cool.
Yeah, awesome. And I mean, I suppose, is there going to be some sort of marketplace / trade mechanic that might also be able to kind of give you an experience of other biomes without the kind of military action involved as well?
Yeah, so we have a whole Mavia web platform built where you can view and stream. We have a streaming service too. There's so many features I haven't even been able to get into, but every single battle in the game is 100% recorded permanently, and it's able to be live streamed and replayed forever. So people are going to be able to go watch other bases battle, and almost like an ether scan of battles. You can see every battle that's been fought, and you can kind of preview the battle. And if it looks interesting, you can go replay it and watch how they fight. That's a cool way to learn strategies too. You'll see some players, and we may even add comments to that where people can chat and critique their strategy.
Awesome. And yeah, so I suppose I should, as Sedano mentioned there, ask the kind of standard tech question. So obviously, many play to earn blockchain games, struggle with high gas fees on Ethereum. How are you guys approaching that kind of? Are you kind of going for any particular L2, or what's your strategy there?
Yep. So we're basically at the moment planning on Arbitrum. Arbitrum has been pretty solid in our head, and I don't know any games that are built on Arbitrum. But we're gonna throw our hat in the ring on that, because Arbitrum is already able to be withdrawn and deposited to Binance, so the user experience is very smooth. If someone has Arbitrum configured on their MetaMask, they're able to enter the Arbitrum ecosystem, play Mavia with very low gas costs, and then exit without ever having to go through a bridge, which is pretty cool. And our NFTs and our staking programs will also be on Arbitrum in the future. Not initially, but they will be. The answer is Arbitrum. Really, we think we're placing a big.
Pretty awesome, and it's fairly kind of very closely related to kind of ETH mainnet, very much so. So it's kind of fairly closely aligned with ETH, right?
Yep, very very similar.
So yeah, that's pretty awesome.
No, I just wanted to jump in real quick. I'm not pretty sure all the tech and the dev side of stuff, but if it's pretty close to how Solidity is written, it would definitely be easier for you guys, especially if the team has background in writing ETH and ETH projects, right? But for these types of incidents where it's going to be the first time that a game or a project is going to be released on a different chain, I think wouldn't it be a challenge for you guys, because it's going to be the first time and you're going to be encountering all the bugs. You're basically going to be doing all the troubleshooting. It's basically entering a new playing field for the first time. What are your thoughts on this? Or would you say that it's now going to be a lot easier just because it's very similar to Ethereum?
No, I think I'm not saying we're the first project to launch there. Far away from that. Uniswap's already integrated Arbitrum. SushiSwap's integrated Arbitrum. I mean, Binance would not have allowed the deep integration.
How about for a game? So wouldn't Heroes of Mavia be the first game on Arbitrum?
Yeah, but I mean, there's very few good games out there. Period. So that are exploring these options on ETH. I'm sorry. So if they're already building on solutions like BSC or Polygon or Avalanche, they already don't have to worry about this. Period. So now our pool is reduced to just Ethereum games, and obviously Axie has grown in. So we got to look at all the other Ethereum games that aren't using L2 or R, and they're probably using Immutable X or something, which we know the team very well there, and they're very good as well. We considered them, but the reason we chose Arbitrum is because we have so many complex features in our marketplace that we really want the ecosystem to be as similar to Ethereum as possible. And we already started developing on it at the time, and we spent a lot of development resources doing that. But there are a lot of good L2 solutions, but we think Arbitrum will be solid.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool too. I mean, thanks for the answer because like how you understand it from what you said is Heroes of Malvia could actually like be the flag carrier basically or the poster boy for Arbitrum. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah,
Well, I
thanks
don't,
for
I
that,
don't think
Tristan.
we'll have a lot of bugs. We've been working with the team close. They're pretty solid.
Awesome. Yeah. Sorry, Toby.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely pretty hyped for that. It's great to see kind of alignment so close to ETH. I mean, obviously some others have kind of mentioned, say, IMX obviously as an alternative, but it's definitely good to see a bit of variation there and to see people experiment. So it'll be great to give this game a try on Arbitrum. So definitely excited on that point anyway.
Mm.
Great.
Yep.
In addition to that, so I suppose as Heroes of Mavia is and YGG is a play to earn blockchain gaming guild, in what ways are our community going to be able to participate at the very beginning?
So I say this, and I've been saying it for a while. We're the most guild-friendly game ever. We've added so many tools to make guilds' lives easier because we knew going into this, whether it's existing guilds or future guilds or players who want to start their own guild, guilds are like probably the future of play to earn. And we want to make sure the experience for both the player and the guilds themselves are really easy. So we built our own in-house tools to be able to manage all the partnerships with the bases. And in the future, we want to be able to even have a free-to-play version that incorporate guilds or having multiple players on a base. So if bases are doing well, if there's a lot of strategy, you got to really leverage the base. So maybe there's someone on day shift and someone on night shift. We got to build the tools to support that. So one player can play during this time zone, the other player can play during this time zone. So these are the kinds of features we're trying to integrate to allow as many players as possible to enjoy while keeping the security and the integrity of the token model. But we have a lot of in-house tools built on the Mavia web platform to make guilds like YGG their lives a lot easier. And you can see it right there on the screen. You see all these video screenshots and videos, the live battle streaming. If you go
Excuse me.
down to base, click the third one, the base partnership manager on the left.
Here.
Yeah, that one. This is an example of the starting a partnership process. Form partnership. There's the base. Enter the address of the person you want to partner with. Let's enter the split. So this is 40 and then 60. Add some heroes to help out the partner in case they don't own any. And they'll be able to utilize those in the game. Throw in some statues too. And then, yep, partnership summary, boom, partnership request sent. That's an example.
Sick.
Those are some of the tools we're building to make everything really simple.
Pretty sick. Like I love how everything like is already like built out on your end. Like the the marketplace looks pretty sick. It's very clean. Looks very user friendly. But yeah, I mean, I think that's also going to be one of the reasons why you have such a strong following and you do such have a strong community for Heroes of Mafia. But yeah, we're going to be asking a few questions from the community as we go on. And I'd like to encourage everyone who's watching at home, everyone on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and especially on Discord. So it's on Discord where we have our discussions where get to talk about like what's happening right on the AMA. But if you guys at home do have any questions, you can just drop them anywhere on the live streams. So I'm just gonna be picking out like a one question for now before we move back to Saratobi. So I have a question from Biumas. So he says, will there be big tournaments where you can win? And when will those be? So when will the integration of tournaments be and the competitive landscape for Mobia be?
There will be. Tournaments is something that we think is going to be a very big driver of players to both the streams and the game itself. Yes, we will be making events. So they'll probably be monthly, and yeah, it'll be whether it's players versus players or alliance versus alliance, which is our version of clans. Tournaments is what keeps this fun, and we're going to do a lot of promotion around them. Even on the platform itself, it'll say we'll have sections of the website dedicated to seeing the tournament brackets and seeing how people are progressing, and of course there'll be big payouts in Ruby.
Yeah, and I mean, from what I get is everything's gonna be hosted on it's gonna be hosted by Mafia, right? So like all the
Mhm.
tools that you need, like for tournaments, for everything, for even for sponsor, for scholarships rather, or partnerships, everything's gonna be done on your side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So could you tell us more about how the tournament gameplay will go about? Like what can we expect?
Well, a lot of the rules are really being developed, so I don't want to say too much because we are still adding a lot of stuff to that. We're at the moment we're still wrapping up the gameplay mechanics. They're basically already done, but there's a few customizations and tweaks we're making to the Ruby model. But when we find the excess of Ruby, that's as a result of our balance in the ecosystem, we're able to siphon that off and put it towards tournament matches and construct all the different rules and the different entry requirements and the different timelines that go into that and basically make it a big event. We want to have a lot of streamers. So we're currently speaking with, I won't say the names yet because they're going to be announcements, but some are already closed. We have the biggest esports teams in Clash of Clans coming on. There are
Ooh,
some of them are signed. So
nice.
our marketing strategy has always been organic, and we don't think paying for advertisement is the way to long term success. We think it all has to come from the community. It all has to at least 99% of it has to be organic from the community. They have to genuinely like what we're doing. And when we see the top esports teams from Clash of Clans and Brawl Stars all coming to us and basically forming teams just around this game. That's how we know we hit something big. So we're going to be speaking with them a lot too about the tournament strategy because they know it better than us. This is their job. So we're going to speak with those esports teams and craft basically the perfect tournament structure to make sure it's as engaging and fun for everyone as possible.
Sick, sick, sick. Yeah, I mean, just speaking of esports, so like even YGG, like we've been, heavily spending our time and our resources and into developing like our players, and it's only going to be a matter of time before like games like Heroes of Mavia and all the other competitive traditional games will be moving on into our space, and it's just going to be one heck of a ride in my opinion, and it's pretty good to hear that like as early as now there's trust and there's a reputation that's being built together with your team and all these other agencies, all these other groups and esports companies. I mean, for you, Sarah Toby, like what do you think about the esports landscape in mobile games, and even again in games like Heroes of Mafia? Because I'm pretty used to watching like FPS, like high action, like fast paced, like real time battles and everything. But on based on your experience, Haritobi, like what do you usually enjoy and what do you think is going to be happening for our space?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the kind of guild space adds a huge amount of aid to the kind of play to earn and blockchains kind of oriented esports kind of thing. So that's going to be a really big thing, I think. And I think seeing these kind of big name guilds kind of go head to head is going to be super exciting over time. I think could really kind of help kind of move forward the whole esports space in kind of blockchain gaming. So super excited to see how that works. And I mean, mechanically, do you kind of see yourselves as like actively going to be supporting that kind of guild mechanics within Mavia to help facilitate maybe some layer of esports at the guild level as well as at the kind of typical PvP level as well?
I think we have to. We want to make part of the tournament and competition screen where you explore all the players, you know, uh, top winners this week as guilds or as guilds. And whether we call them teams or we rephrase them, we're going to be speaking to our partners such as you. But we want to make sure that it's friendly and competitive, right? It's what makes it fun. So you can see how everyone ranks up. It's going to be pound for pound. So it's not like if someone owns 20 pieces of land versus someone owns five, the 20 just based off sheer number can outweigh them. It's quality, but we have to go very deep into the esports and the competitive nature of the game because there's so many elements there that we can utilize and we can represent on the front end. And we have very good UI designers and we have very good developers that we really want to make sure we add these features that a lot of other games aren't adding, such as stats, such as rankings, such as tournament rankings, and make sure it's a really intuitive process. Almost addicting, even if you're not playing the game, just to watch the guilds fight, just to watch the players fight, watch how people rank up, and stream all the battles.
No, absolutely. And I mean, as we finish up the AMA, kind of what is the best way for the YGG community and for those listening to kind of keep up to date with what's happening with Heroes of Mavia?
I would say our Discord is the most popping. our various channels that we have for announcements. But there's no better place than our Discord and just the general chat. We're very engaged with our community.
Awesome. And don't forget that we have dedicated members of the YGG community on our Discord who will help kind of answer questions for people who have questions regarding Mavia. And we're definitely really excited in Q3 to jump aboard and play that game. So, yeah, thanks so much for coming on, Tristan. I mean, have you got anything else to add there, Sedano?
Oh no, yeah. Just before we wrap up, I have to ask. We have a community member. His name's Richie, and he's asking. So, like, once the NFTs like are sold on publicly on the marketplace, what can they expect with the price? Are you guys going to be dictating, the price of the other upcoming NFTs, or will it be the community who will be setting like the new standard of what these items go for?
All community. We will keep the land prices relatively the same for minting, but the value there is the gameplay, and I guess people who have the secondary market opportunities who are looking at that. But we don't want to dictate the value. We want to make a very low barrier to entry for all players, and whatever happens in the secondary market.
Awesome. So yeah, we actually have a very special guest. One of our friends, one of our very, very significant guild members here in YGG. We have Mr. Cuckoo Crypto in the comments, and he's asking. So, do you guys have actually a content creator program for Heroes of Mavia? How does that work? Are you looking for any other talent?
Yes. So we're all about content. Our whole whitelist program is based around content. You can't get a whitelist without contributing something significant to the project, and that takes the form of content or art. But we're going to be taking that a step further for videos and for streaming and for gameplay. We're going to have a program that incentivizes basically people who bring more traffic and gameplay and footage to the project. We will have a program for them. Yep, creator program.
Yeah, definitely very understandable, and I think that's one of the answers that that the community has been waiting for, because like we've been getting lots of inquiries like about the whitelisting, like basically everyone just wants to get in on that first 1,000 people to get like in Heroes of Mafia. But it totally makes sense, because like now at this point, like when you expect a community this big to grow, like wouldn't you just want wouldn't you want to onboard people who also have something to offer to the community? And it totally makes sense. Tit for tat, as I scratch your back, you scratch mine. But yeah, I hope that answered a lot of questions for the community. Just one last thing before we wrap up, everyone. So it's going to be released on mobile, right? Do you seeing Heroes of Mavia getting released on other platforms as well?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. We desktop, Android, iPhone are what we're setting our sights on right now, but that's really the main ones because it's a mobile game, But we'll see what happens. You never know how this can go.
Awesome, great stuff. But yeah, I mean, Tristan, thank you so much for dropping by and sharing your insights with our community. Well, definitely, we will be looking into the game, and yeah, it's gonna be our community who's gonna be joining you guys in the battlefields like later on. I mean, Saratobi, do you have anything else?
Nope, just thanks everyone in the community for jumping on this one. Thanks, Tristan, and thanks, of course, yourself, Mr. Sedano, for being an excellent MC for today, and looking forward to the next one as always.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks everyone. It's gonna be back. See you guys soon. Bye bye. Peace.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.